I'm sorry.
Which banner?
Damn it, Sam it. God damn it.
Yeah, it's like yeah, that's fine. We're live. It's like Marauder's good. Like this is hilarious and witty and fun. Yeah.
Nice. I'll have to catch up on Empire X-Men, the miniseries. Oh, now he decides to show up.
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Hey, we're live.
Hey,
Look,
hey.
Spit Curl. You run on your own schedule.
Spit
That's
curl. That's cute. Oh, we already have a viewer. Look at that. Hi, viewer. How you doing?
Who is this viewer?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, they don't tell me. I just see there's like a little eyeball icon, and it's just there's a number next to it.
And this is number one?
Number one.
You're a number one viewer.
Ah, well done, viewer. Oh, now we got three of them. Christopher Goodnight. Hang on, be right back. I have to put on pants.
Wait, hang on. That's awesome. Pants are good.
Yeah.
2, everyone, hold on. Just shh.
Wait, Samuel did.
That's about enough time for him to buckle up. That's
Okay,
yeah.
He's putting on pants just so that he can take them off slowly while he watches us.
It's a process.
Every day when I put my pants on, I'm like, whoa.
It's a ritual. It's fine.
What's up to all our sidekicks and henchmen out there in the Geek Nation? You're listening to the CultPop podcast, wherein we discuss the week's books, and then maybe later we'll get to a little bit of gutter talk. But first, I'm your host, Johnny Destructo. With me this week is...
Noel. I am Noel. I am here this week.
And...
I am Brian. I am here eventually this week.
That's a little late. You tardy son of a bitch.
That's what it always said on my report cards. Nice guy, tardy son of a bitch.
I love that word, tardy. I don't know why. Like when you get, like most people will just be like, "Hey, you're late." Like, no, you're tardy.
You're tardy.
Like it's just such a good word. Like it's got a good fricative at the end, the dy. Don't be tardy.
Tardy. Did you need to make a BM? Is that why you're tardy?
Yes, sister. I was shitting.
I'm gonna read a letter.
A letter?
letters?
You have a letter?
We got lots and lots.
We got lots and lots and lots and lots of letters. I did it
Perfect.
fine this time. All right.
That was great, I thought.
I thought it was like good in my ear too.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of around? That's what we do. You know, when people sing like row, row, row your boat,
Oh.
and the next guy starts in a minute.
Yeah.
Everybody loves it, and that's why we do it.
Everybody loves it. Yeah. This email is from Anthony D. It says, "Hey guys, follow-up questions to last night's discussion. Last week's discussion. I was like, we weren't talking last night. Follow-up questions to last week's discussion. How do customers and retailers respond to these problematic creators? Customers can choose to vote with their dollars to build up and promote more marginalized creators as a counter. Retailers can do the same. To quote from a piece I read, if we lift the voices of enough marginalized creators, their works become the signal, and their works of those who oppressed and abuse them become nothing but noise. If nothing else, I feel like it's a solution that lifts up rather than tears down. But I wonder if we still recommend and seek out, for example, Warren Ellis's works. I have not read Planetary, but I want to. Do I hurt a retailer, like JD, by not buying those trades? What does that accomplish? Am I allowed to still love Transmet? And can we still recommend it to others? What about Flash Rebirth? JD, will you keep that in stock and maybe recommend it to someone even though it has EVS on the cover? Just some thoughts. I understand, though, if you don't want to start this discussion again. So on the Gutter Talk segment of last week's show, we talked about sexism in comics and gatekeeping and all that sort of stuff. The usual hubbub that mostly lingers around the cesspool that is Twitter. I don't really see it anywhere else other than Twitter. But so we were talking about that, and so that's what he's responding to. I don't carry Flash Rebirth. Also,
He's a Green Lantern.
On the cover, he is the entire book. He's the artist for the entire series. Same for Green Lantern Rebirth. However, if people want him, I'll order him. If you come in and ask for Flash Rebirth, great, I'll get it for you.
I was actually going to make that correct. I was going to mention that correction first. Like, it's not just he did cover artwork. Like, it's his co-book. I've seen a lot of retailers do some pretty cool things. Some of them will put a sign up saying this is a problematic creator. However, if you do decide to purchase this, I will make a donation for X, Y, and Z.
That's cool.
Yeah, which I thought was a really, really cool thing.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, as a retailer, first of all, it's your decision to do whatever you want and whatever you're comfortable with. Like for JD, for you, I don't carry it. If someone explicitly asks for it, I will order it. Yeah. I mean, so like there's a bunch of things that you could do without being, or like the suggestions thing. I've seen that too. Like, blah, 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 you may like this, but maybe try this because it's along the same lines.
And that allows the people who worked on the book that weren't the problematic creator, because that's a drawback to this too, that there's a lot of people. So that's a cool solution.
I'm having personal problems with the Warren Ellis one because there are so many Warren Ellis things that I still enjoy or that I've always wanted to read.
Planetary is one of my top 10 books.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is trades and secondary for some stuff because I also fear that it's going to go out of print because a lot of it's hard to find anyway. So I recently online traded for the Moon Knight trade paperback that I always wanted to read, but I never did. And it's completely out of print. So, I'm not directly giving money to that. I'm, it's like going to a Goodwill. But if it ever came back, same with Next Wave. I have copies of that, and I still love it dearly.
I forgot I did Next Wave. I love Next Wave.
Stuff like that. Like I'm having, and also too, his whole thing has been very enlightening and confusing, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
His. Do you want to summarize? Do you want to summarize?
No. Sorry, I was going to comment about the confusing nature of it. You go ahead.
He's essentially if it's true, he's essentially just a giant creeper, but not
right.
Illegal, not unlawful, not, I don't know, like it's pernicious behavior and based in his power over, his popularity. So it's like using your station to be an awful person. And it's where you personally draw that line. Like, I'm not comfortable with it, but I could see people being like, well, he didn't do anything illegal.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
he said like open relationship stuff about how, now I've read like one or two articles about this situation, but he said stuff about like, look, I never told anybody that I was being exclusive with them. I was in an open relationship with somebody else. And then those people are like, well, but they didn't make it clear what the nature of the relationship was. And it's so murky in that particular situation about, like you said, like nothing is, like no illegal things have been accused at all.
The only thing I like randomly read that could be illegal is that he was using hypnosis with some people.
Oh, I did not hear about that.
Well, okay, so I don't know if it's true or whatnot, but there was like 30 to 50 women who have all written things that are all kind of a lineup. So this is definitely a pattern of behavior, and it's super awful, and he's awful. And I did hear like knowing that Warren Ellis is a very weird dude, and he's into very weird things. Like I watched a documentary about him once, and it's just all about like, the metaphysical being of blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, no, I kind of believe that. If he did like hypnosis or tried hypnosis with like 2 or 3 girls, like I think I kind of believe that. But I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's too murky and weird to just be like, no, it didn't happen. Like,
okay. I don't know that you can even cause somebody to do anything hypnotically, that like fun stuff that they're cool with doing or therapeutic stuff that they're cool with doing. But I don't know enough about hypnosis to make this declaration.
Which is the point.
Right.
Exactly. That's the point. Like, I don't know enough and I don't want to, and it makes me uncomfortable. So for the time being, I directly do not contribute to his bottom line because there's so much on my shelf of his and now I'm afraid to sell it because it's probably never gonna be in print again, or at least for a long time. Like the Wildstorm that he just did with DC.
Yeah, you
Those
really
books,
like that.
Those books are awesome, and there was supposed to be a sequel. It's never gonna happen.
Yeah.
No.
And his Batman, he was doing another Batman book, and that got canceled with.
Declan Shalvey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think there are also like two relevant issues, at least. Like one, with all these things, there are degrees. Yes, please. There are degrees, right? Like when somebody asks, like the guy who wrote the letter, person who wrote the letter, I don't remember the name. They say, what should we do about creators that do this thing, right? And I think part of the reason that sometimes we have a difficult time finding a response is like, well, they don't all do the same thing. They are, like some people do horrific things that have been made rightfully illegal, like things that are just like terrible, terrible things. And then other people do things that are bad, but shouldn't necessarily have the same response.
So this is the Harvey Weinstein, Louis C.K. thing.
Or even
Harvey Weinstein, jailed, should be killed. Louis C.K., it's disgusting. It's creepy. You're a jerk.
Right. Exactly.
Not in prison about it. Like yeah.
And so that's the like, is there a difference of response that can happen, right? And I think it's at least a question that is worth looking at. And the other thing, like you approached with the only buying secondhand, is what about all of the creators of comics and books and everything else throughout history that, if you look at what they have done, you're like, these people, right? And you brought it up a little while ago. I forget if it was in a personal chat or here. We were like, well, if they're not getting money for it anymore, then go ahead, right? And I don't know that that's the answer, but it's a pretty good answer. So
it's also too like that is contingent on how you feel about it. So like somebody like EVS, I don't even feel. His activities have tainted how I even enjoyed it previously.
Like you think about it, and read it.
Yeah. So like when I look, like I'll think about it when I read it. Like this guy's a jerk, and I really dislike him, and it's hard for me to just enjoy the artwork, even though I wasn't a giant fan of the artwork anyway, because everything looks grotesque. Even when it's beautiful, it just looks sinewy and grotesque. But yeah, no, like that's an instance where even if I know that I'm not giving him my dollar anymore, it still is kind of a barrier. With Warren Ellis, I've recently read a couple of things of his that I'd never read before, and I started them before all this stuff happened, and then finished them, and it was like, I loved that, and I want to say online or with my friends, like, I just read this amazing Warren Ellis book and it was fantastic. But it's probably not the right moment to promote.
Maybe not right now.
Let's not talk about it. It's fine. I enjoyed it for me, and I'll have to end it there. Yeah, stuff like that.
I wondered also with him. So a lot of this kind of thing, when it's not like horrific illegal stuff, a lot of this is power imbalance kind of things, right?
Yeah.
And that is. I wonder if some of these people don't know that they are in power over these other people, or to what degree they know. And I put this out there as, I don't know Warren Ellis, and I have no idea what his background was, but he writes comics and might have been a kind of fringy outcast guy as a kid who never had much success with women. And I wonder if he never revised that self-image to... have success with women, like I am in a position of power. And this is to examine the situation, not to like excuse behavior.
I think so. The thing about it is like I would have accepted that kind of not rationale, but that kind of like thought process.
Yeah.
But
maybe he didn't know it, that he was
for years 1 through 5. He has been
I don't know about that
popular. He has been at the highest end of this small industry for decades.
Not the popularity, but it's
yes, he has. His most popular. I think it was like over 20 years old.
He is definitely popular for that long. I'm saying, like, knowing that is one thing. Revising your self-image, especially about how you view yourself sexually and romantically, can be tricky and not happen. Like, and you think of yourself in one way as a kid. It's like that elephant with a rope tied around its leg. You guys, yeah.
I don't know that. What is the elephant with the rope?
Oh, okay, cool. So I don't know if this is true or not, but it's like a fable if it's not true. So if you tie in you have a baby elephant that you're training, right? And if you tie a rope around its leg, it can't escape.
I got you.
Yeah, and then and it grows up knowing that the rope keeps it chained up there.
Yeah.
And then when it grows up, it could leave, but it doesn't know it, and it keeps itself chained up there now, through that belief. And so I don't know if that's. I think sexuality is such a hot button. Like, part of the reason that these mistakes happen when they are mistakes, is that we don't talk about. We're not open about sexuality. You know what I mean?
Yes. You know what? Even if that is the case, this instance with Warren Ellis has brought to light a bigger issue of rampant sexism and power struggles within the industry of comic books and publishing. So even if he's just a lightning rod, it still is a larger issue that he contributed into for multiple decades.
I mean, even if he is that, and if that is the reason, and somebody heard that, they might be like, wait a second, I'm in a position of power. I have power over women sexually. So it's like, that's one good reason to figure out what's going on in the heads, is that maybe somebody that hasn't done something wrong yet will say, like, ooh,
exactly. Yeah.
I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I never thought of it that way, or whatever it is,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, what was buying the trades? What does that accomplish? Flash Rebirth. Will I keep that in stock?
Oh,
I guess we answered all that.
Rebirth is being reprinted in Absolute.
Cool.
Oh, really?
But the thing about it is, it's $100, and it's just 6 issues.
Ooh. And probably a lot of back matter that I would.
Oh, I don't know. It's still it's usually an Absolute or a large format of that size is multiple tie-ins and or lead-ins or things like they ramp it up, but 6 issues.
I think to answer the question a little bit more, I think on my end, I don't within the shop, if there's something that I absolutely love and I can be behind the creator, I will push that book. Push the hell out of that book. And I probably won't push books that I think come from problematic creators. That's all. It's not, I don't tell anybody I'm not going to sell it to them. I don't refuse to carry it. If somebody wants it, I'll order it. I will order it quietly because I don't want to ruin, like, if they want to enjoy the thing, I'm not here to make the decision for them. Right. So if they want it, I'll order it for them. It's not like I'm, boycotting EVS's books, but I'm never going to order those for my shop. If someone wants them, if that's their decision to make, that's fine. I particularly I don't specifically push Rebirth and stuff like that. He's not for me.
What about levels of contribution? Like, you had made a distinction between he does the whole Flash Rebirth, but only the did he only do covers for Green Lantern Rebirth?
He did the whole thing.
He did the whole thing. Okay. Yeah. And then also, like I said a minute ago, like the other people argument, and I'm not sure that should matter, but like just in this, or especially movies, like the everybody else that worked on it.
Yeah. The 1,000 other people who worked on the film. Yeah.
That's movies. With comic books, it's like 4 other people.
True.
And the lion's share of profits go to like the top 2.
Writer and artist.
So
you probably know them a lot more directly. Like, it's not necessarily your responsibility to find out if everybody you know has ever done anything that you should object to, but you're way more likely to know about it than if you're like the key grip on something like the director.
Yeah.
Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight says, with the diversity talk last week, they completely changed the race of one of the members of the Umbrella Academy members, and as such had to completely change the ending to the second miniseries, which I haven't read.
I have not either. But
I didn't
change.
I get that
didn't
they
see the
wanted to
second
add
season.
diversity, but if you want a diverse cast, then adapt a diverse book. Dynamo 5 would make an awesome series, and the cast would be 50-50 in diversity and the male to female ratio. If you want to add diversity, then adapt a diverse book. No.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, no.
there's too many stories that maybe they were like, yeah, Dynamo 5 has the diversity thing that we love, but it doesn't hit any of the other story points that we're looking for out of this.
Just like how you shouldn't insert, or if the case is, if the argument is like you shouldn't insert diversity into where it doesn't belong, why would you insert something that's intentionally diverse into something that you want to see elsewhere? Like, it's still like if.
So I guess Hamilton,
the logic is
Hamilton
faulty.
would be a completely different thing, right?
Yeah, like the logic is faulty. It's just like, if anything, it doesn't matter. And if they change, so I haven't finished the second season of Umbrella Academy, but I think I know what he's referring to. Well, they made Allison African American, so her whole subplot is not in that second series of Dallas where she's she's married to a civil rights icon. So, yeah, change it. Who cares? So this is like a bigger thing with me when it comes to adaptations and reboots and see, fucking do anything. Just make it good. I do not care if it's completely different. Just make sure it's good.
And also,
I don't care at all.
I don't watch adaptations of films, of comic books in the movies or in TV shows to get the exact same experience that I got from the book. Because I read that. And I don't need it to be the exact same thing. I already got that experience from reading it.
Yeah, give me touch points, and that's good. So, like, have Cap pick up the hammer, but I don't need every single beat that led up to that was exactly in the book and after. Yeah.
I'll tell you, when I was younger, I definitely felt the exact opposite of that. Like, when I was younger, it was a combination of, like, I love this comic thing, and for some reason, Hollywood seems philosophically opposed to adapting it correctly. You know what I mean? But as I've gotten older and, just maturity, but also we have so many more comic things than we used to. It used to be like Christopher Reeve Superman, Michael Keaton Batman, that Fantastic Four movie that wasn't released. There was hardly anything. We have so much now. And in the outside world, we're trying to change society for the better. And this is one way that we've identified as being able to do it. But even when it's not about that, even when they change some story point that's not motivated by that at all, it's still like, all right, this is cool. And now I'm more on the side of you guys where it's like, yeah, let's make something good,
remake everything. That's one of my favorite online outrage to kind of like laugh at is when people freak out over a casting decision, or it wasn't exactly like in the book, or their color on their suit was different. Like, that is my favorite, because the vitriol that comes from it is like, oh my God, they went to your house. They stole all your stuff. They set it on fire, and you can never read it or enjoy it again because this remake's coming. Like, relax.
Drives me nuts.
Relax.
He says it does matter, though. You can have a series with a diverse cast and one without. Sure. So
segregation?
Like,
two different series.
Yeah, two series, same story. Some diverse, some not. Just saying, it's possible.
Yeah, hire the
Hear
people.
me out. Hear me out. I don't mean to be
who are
racist,
best for the role. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if the best actress who came in to play Rumor was the black woman who plays Rumor, great.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm not calling Chris. Sorry, go
ahead. He was to defend him. I think he was upset that they had to lose a storyline because of the change. Right?
That was add a storyline, right? I don't know. I haven't finished the series, and say, don't spoil the series for me, please.
Yeah.
Your comment back. And I also, like, to be clear, I'm not calling you a racist. That logic is one that those that will use, where it's just like, well, why can't they have their things and I can have mine? Like, that's segregation. That's not. That's.
Oh, I took that as wordplay, Noel, on your part. I don't think anybody thought you were You
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't.
Hey, you guys want to talk about some comics that came out this week? Because we're gonna.
Let's spoil them for people.
All right, we're going to start with Alien, the original screenplay #1 by Cristiano Seixas and Guilherme Balbi.
I would say.
What?
I would probably Seixas, just because
Seixas.
my last name rules.
My last name rules.
Rules.
Therefore, I
No one's
decided.
got a last name like that. My last name. One last name to rule them all. So what is this? Was actually based on the original screenplay for Alien, the horror xenomorph, and Flea and all that. You know the one. But it was the original screenplay by Dan O'Bannon.
Yeah, I think so.
Diamond has this to say: en route to back to Earth, the crew of the starship Snark intercepts an alien transmission. Their investigation leads them to a desolate planetoid, a crashed alien spacecraft, and a pyramidic structure of unknown origin. Then the terror begins. Adapted from the original 1976 screenplay by Dan O'Bannon, author of Mobius's The Long Tomorrow, co-writer of Total Recall, writer-director of The Return of the Living Dead. I didn't realize all that. That's great. And they had done this previously, which I think to great success with the Alien 3 original screenplay, which is very widely known to have been super messed with. The final result of Alien 3 is not what we were supposed to get. And now they're doing it here with the original Alien, one of my all-time favorite horror movies. And I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this because it doesn't really matter, right? It's the original screenplay. It wasn't made. Original screenplays are dropped all the time, and it doesn't really. Sometimes you go back, like the original Star Wars screenplay, and you go, "Oh,"
Which they also do, right?
Thank God they didn't do that. So, but I really enjoyed this. I thought especially the art. The art helped a lot. The artist on this book is fantastic. I want to see a lot more from this person, whose name is Guilherme Balbi.
Guillermo, I believe.
But Guillermo.
Yeah, it seems like there's a couple of consonants in there that don't need to be pronounced.
Yeah.
We're still going Balbi. Balbi's great. I love Balbi. We need more Balbi.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this was actually a lot of fun. Once I settled in and was like, oh, this is just a cute little what if. And I thought it was great. And we got the original designs that are based on the descriptions in the screenplay, so everything looks a little bit different. What did you guys think?
Also, you mentioned Star Wars, the original screenplay. You remember they did that in comic form also.
I read one issue and gave up.
That was where I was like, what an interesting artifact. I won't be reading the rest of this.
I see what you did here.
That's how I feel about the Bible.
I see what you've done here.
Yeah.
Nah.
Good changes. Good changes for the movie, guys.
Yeah.
So, all right. I have never seen Alien. I have no idea, right? It was in the time that I probably would have seen it. It was a horror movie to me, and so I didn't watch it, right? You guys, I mean, I've seen other movies. We can talk about those. But everybody's got some, right? Everybody's got some, like, how have you not seen that movie?
I mean, not everyone's got Alien.
True. Hey, there he is. Is that the guy from...
Yeah, it's Steve Alien. Yeah. You've never seen the movie, so you don't know. Yeah. It's Steve Alien. He's the main character of the first film.
Right.
It's like you thought it was horror, but it's more of like a suspenseful rom-com between him and Sigourney Weaver.
Sure.
But it's also like a detective mystery where he's just gotten too old for this shit.
I understand that. He looks older. He looks like he's getting up there.
He's got tension.
The first metamorphosis of the xenomorph is that it's a mustache, one of those like old cop mustaches where he's just too old for this shit.
And it has some stuff stuck in it always.
Yeah. From super 70s, 80s movie.
Cool.
You'll love it.
Cool. This wasn't like that at all. They changed a lot.
Very different.
Yeah. This was like a hardcore sci-fi story that I enjoyed. I was, and I kind of was excited having not seen it. I was like, what an interesting way to be exposed to Alien. I mean, I know stuff about it, culture, but I thought it was a cool story. I was interested. I was like, yo, don't go down to that rock, man. But you got to go down to that rock. It's alien contact. There were a few points where I was like, this is not looking good. You should get out of there, guys. Call the research team. That was a smart move. And I am pretty sure it's a warning beacon not to go down to that rock. But I don't know. Like that the message, if translated, would be like, don't come down to this rock. There's xenomorphs here. Or whatever they call them in this one. The designs were cool. That big alien at the end was very intriguing. It's a really intriguing story. Like I said, I never saw it because I thought of it as a horror film. But
it is. I mean,
yeah. And I probably now, if I watched it, I would be like, oh, good sci-fi movie. It was scary, kind of, rather than thinking of. I never saw the X-Files either for that reason when I was a kid. Anyway, yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it. It was fun. No idea how big a change it was. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
I thought the art was great. I thought the story was just technobabble garbage, and I didn't connect with anything in this other than my nostalgia. And I think that this should have been an OGN because this is barely an opening. I don't know any of these characters. I hardly know names because they're not the same characters as the movie. Clearly, like there's no Ripley that you could immediately kind of, okay, I know this, like to kind of glom onto. This is all completely different. So as a starter, this needed more. Like story wise, the art is awesome. Like he's got I assume he has just a very, very clean but still loose style. Is it kind of Dan Mora-ish?
I was about to say Dan Mora. Yeah.
Yeah. It like the coloring too just completely complements it. The way that the colorist approaches like the background and the foreground in kind of a separate way. So the ship and the tech look almost muddy, whereas the people are stark and clean. The book is beautiful. Yeah. The story did shit for me. Nothing.
Yeah, this is the credit sequence.
This is a cold open, and it gives me nothing other than IP branding. So as a first issue, I didn't like it, but as an exercise, I think this is awesome, and I hope that it should have maybe been in a different format.
I agree. Well, I don't agree. I connected with it, but I think that may actually have more to do with nostalgia than the actual story because there are little bits, and I'm reading them, and I'm thinking about you guys reading it while I'm reading it, and I go, are they skipping some of these word bubbles too? Because it's like it's just technobabble that doesn't matter.
Like, what was give me an example, because I wouldn't get it at all.
Activate lifter quads. Activated. Vertical drop checked. Correcting course. On tangential course now. Orbiting. Crossing the Terminator. Entering night side. Like, I don't need any of that. Like, you guys are landing? You're landing. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, I read the first and I'm like, I skim it. I'm like, all right, you guys are landing. I get it. I'm great.
I read it.
I feel compelled, but I'm not like this or any book, but I'm not like always into it. I'm like, can we go through this whole thing just in case there's something that I want to have read?
Yeah. Although there was some interesting stuff, like the readings show that those aren't water vapor clouds. They have no moisture content. And the stuff with the
dust,
sand, the sand was, or the dusty sand was pretty cool too. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff in here that I really liked, but I think again, that's because my brain was the entire time comparing it to the original. And the art is just so goddamn good. Part of the allure, I think, of the original Alien are all of the designs and the sets and the xenomorph by, what's his name?
H.R. Giger.
And
apparently Mobius is mentioned in the front of this. I didn't realize he had anything to do with it. And a third guy whose name I didn't recognize.
But the thing I agree with Noel about is they should have been an OGN.
Yeah, I mean, they would make just as much money just like plopping this into a hardcover. People would freak out about it. So you mentioned the Alien 3 William Gibson, I think it's Gibson version. It was 4 issues that came out like 2 years ago. That was different because it was the characters we already know. So like the first issue was technobabble and cool art, but Ripley, Hicks, Newt, and they're all a part of the story and what's happening next. So you just roll with it. This is just blind and there's literally no character that I know I'm following. Like I don't even know their names. There's like a Roby.
Like I'm not sure which one's supposed to be the Ripley.
Even if none of them are, we don't follow anyone. Like you got the captain with the cool haircut, and that's it. And then just faceless dudes in masks, crew members in masks that go and like it's very cold open. So that design is cool as hell. It's very cold openy, and it doesn't really give me anything to latch onto. I like maybe a year from now I will read this as a whole, but I'm not into it for now.
I never went back and finished the Alien 3 original screenplay graphic novel, so I might track that down too.
I have all the issues, but I never read the last two.
Yeah, I was about to say this is for people who love the Alien film and want to see what could have been. But then, Brian, are you interested in reading the rest of it?
So here's the thing. I was, I was when I was going through it, I was like, oh, nuts! This isn't going to be a complete story. It's way too short. Would I go out of my way to pick up the rest of it? Maybe, maybe not. But if I had it in OGN, like I definitely want to know what happens with this and like what direction this goes. And I am intrigued by the setup. I don't disagree with you guys that it's a lot of sci-fi setup, but I want to know what's going on with that alien sitting in that. Why is he alone? Was that the case with? Is that similar at all to the movie where there's like
the pilot? Yeah.
Okay. The major beats are all part of the original film.
The what?
The major beats.
The major beats of this story, as you've read them so far, are there in the movie.
Oh, what about the microscopic sand thing? That's cool. Okay, yeah.
No, I think they damaged the ship, but I don't remember there being microscopic sand.
Maybe not as good filmable. You know, like not at like, oh my God, there's tiny holes in this sphere this rod that we need. Yeah. You know, I don't know. But yeah, I definitely would. I also love the art, and it's very much fits this style. Yep. So yeah, if we kept going, I would be into it. I also went into it kind of being like, how's this gonna be? You know, and I don't know if it's the same for you guys. I rarely go down in levels of realism. So if I love Star Trek, but I've rarely read Star Trek books or comics. But if there's a movie made out of a comic, then I'm all about it. You know what I mean? I'll go up, but not back down. So you're going down, and I'm not. Oh, that's an original graphic novel, Max. It's something that is produced intentionally, not serialized in issues. Just here's the whole story in graphic novel, format.
Yeah, like if you look at any of the DC Earth 1 stuff, Earth 1, Batman, Wonder Woman, Teen Titans, those are released as OGNs, original graphic novel.
And it's not that substantively different from a trade paperback, which is just slang for collected edition. But those were produced serialized, and this is not.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Batman number 96 by James Tynion IV and Jorge Jimenez on art. Reeling from the effects of the worst Joker toxin attack ever, Batman is on the run through Gotham City, pursued by the dark shadows and voices that haunt his past and present. As the Joker's plan materializes, the only person who can save Batman from the brink of true madness is Harley Quinn.
What?
Question mark! Exclamation point!
Not Harley Quinn.
I'm really enjoying Joker War. I think this is a lot of fun. What did you guys think?
It's fine.
God damn it, Noel. Brian, what did you think?
I had fun in this issue. Last issue, I was kind of like, what's going on here?
I'm sorry. I'm flipping through to remember.
What's he on there? The Joker in his own car. Yeah, I had fun. The intro is intriguing. I
want more of that. I like that future.
Me too. I love that kind of thing, and I thought that was well done. But the whole time, I'm like, this is not that kind of story. This is not an alternate future we're seeing. This is a hallucination.
This is going to be awful.
That costume. That costume seems like a weird fit in this story, right? just like they've created this costume that I think symbolizes him as like a happier, lighter Batman.
Yeah, and there's still a mystery as to who made the costume. So,
Alfred, but probably.
I mean, in the story, there's still a mystery as to who created the. So the suit itself is like a MacGuffin, and it's interesting. I liked. I don't know why I shouldn't, but I kind of liked this Clown Hunter character. You only get one page of him.
Oh yeah.
He's like a Joker, Jason Todd. I think he's a good guy, or good guy.
Somebody who was on with Joker and then turned from that,
or just like destroyed by the Joker.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, that would be interesting.
Because he kills one of the other clowns.
Yeah.
With
he's called Clown Killer. Is that the name of the character? They don't tell you in here, but from looking at,
I think so.
Releases from previous.
But it's just such a weird kind of proto-punk pop kind of look. It's just kind of cool.
Well, not really. The animated series episode. I like that Harley Quinn is included. I know that she is being shoehorned in everywhere, but let's get her into the hierarchy of the mythology. You know what I mean? As an empowered woman who turned against this awful guy and is now her own person. That's real story.
Also too, her like replacement is a major part of the story. This Punchline lady.
Mm-hmm.
So having her just makes sense. This doesn't feel shoehorned. This was fine. It's a second middle issue. I really love the art as always, and I like the creepy idea of having the Joker having his men exhume every single corpse he's created over the last whatever. There's a lot of really cool things in here.
I'm really digging it, and the art is just top notch. Look at it.
That's a great looming scene.
With the coloring and everything, the inking is on point. The action is there. Everything is moving and twisting, and there's motion to everything that's happening. Nothing is static. I'm really enjoying this. I think this is a lot of fun, and this is a personal thing, but I used to read Batman when Norm Brayfogle was drawing it. And he did this really Clown Hunter. That's the name. Thank you, Samuel David. His name is Clown Hunter, not Clown Killer. And Robert Patey says Alfred looks like the Crypt Keeper's testicle.
Which testicle? Yeah.
Left or right?
Yeah. Or
just your favorite.
But
whichever your favorite is.
That is the Norm Brayfogle Batman face. Look at that with the eye. That's
where the eyes get bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm all about this issue. I think this is a lot of fun, and I like as opposed to when Tom King was writing it, and we had 7 issues of him having a nightmare that I didn't care about. Him having nightmares in this issue, I thought felt like creepy and cool.
Part of the story.
Yeah.
So, but the thing about it, so to go back to Tom King's run, I'm not gonna defend it.
I'm laughing at Rob Patey's answer. The middle testament.
Of course.
Tom King literally told the same story. He just did it in a different structure where you moved away for 2 issues. The taking over of, I'm talking about like the Bane one. The last 10 issues that like the City of Bane stuff. So it would be like took over all of Gotham for 2 issues, and then an issue in between of Batman recouping and training because he was laid out. So like the pacing was different, but this is essentially the same story we got less than a year ago, where all of Gotham was taken over by a villain and all of its structures were taken down, and like less than a year ago. So
and also before that, the Riddler did it, right? In the 0 year.
Yeah. 0 year Riddler did it, and then in Cataclysm with the earthquake, like Gotham has been taken over by villains constantly. So that's kind of where I'm just like, yeah, cool. It's beautiful, but it's beautiful treading of water, right? So far. So let's just like do something different. Like they're building up to this 100th issue. Blow my mind. I'm waiting. Like I really want to. Yeah.
I think also they are really setting up a foundations of Batman and consequently the Joker kind of story, which I didn't buy in the last issue. I was like, is this any more the defining Batman than any other Batman story? You know, so Joker's taking over the Wayne money, and he's got a new costume, and he's talking to Alfred also, even if it's not Alfred, which is classic. Joker's digging up the old thing. But in this issue, for some reason, I think the switch flipped, and I was like, all right, this does seem more like a commentary on who Batman is as Batman, and he will come out a stronger Batman, kind of. And I buy it more in this issue. Yeah.
I think I'm, you know what, almost more so than the resolution of this issue or this arc, I'm more interested in what comes out of it.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever like been into like sometimes you're in the middle of an event and it's just like I'm enjoying this, but I'm almost more excited by the status quo change. So let's just get to that part.
For sure.
Flashpoint,
Yeah. In fact, Flashpoint, it was like, why do I care about any of Flashpoint now? Because you told me you're going to do something completely different. Yeah. But and I think that's cool. Like, one of the things I liked about this was like, oh, and he's back in his Batman costume. It's cool. He looks like Batman to me now. You know, mostly with it's not new for this. It's just done well. And yeah, totally. I'm like, oh, I hope they set the pieces on the board in a way that I like again.
Yeah, like I want to get. I'm anxious to get to the next part because they've been billing, you know, issue 100. Like let's do it. Let's get on it.
Yeah, just skip the next 4 issues and just put out issue 100. What's the
summarize them for me because that's cool. I've heard it before.
Well, let's stay on the Batman tip with Dark Knight Death Metal Legends of the Dark Knights #1, written by Scott Snyder, Garth Ennis, Peter J. Tomasi, Joshua Williamson, Marguerite Bennett, James Tynion IV, Daniel Warren Johnson, with art by Jamal Igle, Riley Rossmo, Tony S. Daniel, Joel Jones, Francisco Francavilla, etc. The DC universe has become engulfed by the dark multiverse where demons dwell, and reality is overrun by monstrous versions of the Dark Knight, all ruled by the Batman who laughs. In this collection of short tales, learn the terrifying secrets of these new bats out of hell and other creatures of the night like Robin King, whose origin is just the worst. Plus, read about the secret buried beneath Castle Bat, the sentient Batmobile, and how did Batman turn into a dinosaur?
That wasn't answered either.
That wasn't it. Right.
It was answered in Metal.
Yeah.
Death Metal.
Put his consciousness in it or something like that.
Yeah, like the animatronic dinosaur that was in his Batcave. Like he uploaded his consciousness into it as the Batcave was coming down. Yeah. As you do.
He puts his mind into a lot of things in this comic. Which is I mean, good on him. Good job.
Yeah. I think this was a lot more fun than I had given it had I had expected, I suppose.
Yeah.
I really like the Robin King one. The Manhattan, the Batmanhattan was whatever, but I really like this one. And the implications at the end is that Batman has turned himself into Danny the Street, but a full Gotham version of him, which I thought was a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
And you know what? The Garth Ennis one was funny too.
Was that the baby one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miscalculated. I brought myself back as an infant.
That was funny. Yeah, I like this a lot more than Legends of the Dark Knights with the Batman who laughs on the cover. It led me to believe that I would like this book.
Yes.
And maybe the first thing that I've read that I've been like, oh, sweet. I did like the Batmanhattan one a lot. And I guess he definitely is that rather than Dr. Bathattan. But
they both work.
You know what it had me wondering is ultimately, will there be a twist where he is Batman, right? Like they spend that whole first splash page saying like, I was Batman. I did all the Batman things. I grew up as Batman. Will there be a twist where he's like, oh, I, Bruce Wayne, am strong enough to fight back against all the bad that I have become, and I'm gonna give up. I don't know, but this would be like the end of Death.
I feel like they've explored that in the 15 other Batman Who Laughs series and issues, where even like they made a very big point, even back in Metal, that he is the exact same person, except when he killed the Joker, he was
right.
Infused with this, like they had then they had a whole series of him killing all the other Bruce Waynes in the multiverse. Like what?
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying I'll go next. But when
one that was cool.
What's his name? What was Manhattan's name? Not Ostrander.
John Ostrander.
No, it wasn't John Ostrander.
Osterman.
When John Ostrander, what?
Osterman.
Osterman. Thank you. When John Osterman went into the device and he disintegrated and he reforms himself and he becomes Dr. Manhattan, he is blessed with sort of this omniscience, which changes his personality. He is no longer the same character because he has gained all of this perspective, I suppose, right?
He knows everything that will happen, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so to go back to what you're saying, Brian, doesn't it make sense that this version of Batman, who is now a omniscient character, wouldn't that sort of expunge all of the Joker stuff out of him? Like,
I was wondering that too. Like, is his brain so changed? Because they did put his brain in there, but is his whatever he is so changed by that
I'm confused.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the Batman Manhattan body with Batman Who Laughs brain?
Yes.
Or are we talking about okay?
Yeah.
Because I thought you meant like this Bruce Wayne that becomes that version of Manhattan. How did he let it happen?
You're right. You're right. He doesn't have he's got the same brain. You're right. It's not like he was transformed. His brain was taken out of the Batman Who Laughs and put into this other body that has this power.
I would still think
it's just a husk.
Yeah. But I would still think that has, because I found myself wondering that too. Like, is he, because he completely reforms his body. Like, whatever he is now is not physically, I think, any part of what he was, brain or otherwise. But is he so changed that that's just who he is now? Or would that is awesome, Rob. Bruce
Bridge to the Boulevard.
Yeah. Or would that kind of like, is it like a reset? And he, I don't have any experience with that in my own life, so I don't know.
I didn't read like the Batman Who Laughs incapacitates this Bruce Wayne with the power literally a second after he reforms himself.
Yeah.
And then now he's just a husk of a like brainless body that's just all over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I never like this Bruce Wayne's faculties are nothing. And
you're right.
There's like no consciousness to build to figure out exactly what this new power is and how he can prevent it. Like literally it was like at infancy he was snuffed out.
Wait,
so
but no, we mean the Batman Who Laughs, once he is like transformed by this, would that
why would he be transformed by it? He transforms it by inserting his brain into it.
Oh, just
because it has nothing.
I always had the sense of Dr. Manhattan. I guess this isn't the case because he physically reforms his body. But like when he goes from like blue guy who looks like Batman Who Laughs into the Darkest Night kind of thing, I don't know how physical he is anymore at all. Like he doesn't have a brain at all. So yeah, like I agree with you. Like when he puts his brain in there, he's still Batman Who Laughs. But he's gone through this kind of change that could change his perspective on things. Like, is he the Joker?
Like, in All-Star Superman, right? Doesn't I believe Lex Luthor steals the power that Superman has.
Yeah.
And through seeing things through that new perspective that Superman has, Lex Luthor realizes a lot of things and the error of his ways, and that perspective changes him at the core, right? The same way when Doc Ock put his brain into Spider-Man Peter Parker's body, and he was hit with all of Peter Parker's memories and experiences. Yeah. He went, oh, I see what Spider-Man's all about now, because now I have that morality basis of having been raised by Aunt May and Uncle Ben. So now I too am going to become a Spider-Man.
But the Batman Who Laughs has all those memories, knows all those things, and still is himself. It's like trying to wash out water with water. It's like I don't think that it's a different perspective that he didn't already have or know. He's just this other thing now. So like the power of Bruce Wayne being able to overcome internally, that's already in him. That's already a part of him.
Oh, sure, for sure. Let me tell you, if this was happening to the Earth Zero Bruce Wayne, he would do it. He would get it done.
Yeah.
But but who knows with this guy?
I think it's a nerd.
It's just Bruce Wayne is as a kid is just evil. He's just like
The Robin King one.
Yeah, the Robin King.
Maybe I was like, what could they possibly do that I would give two shits about the Robin King? And I was like, oh, that was what they could have possibly done.
Apparently everyone online is freaking out about this issue because it's the origin of the Robin King. Like they're putting so much effort behind the Robin King as though he is the next Batman who laughs. So enjoy that you're enjoying it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Because in a year, he will like, oh God, enough with the Robin King.
Yeah, he'll be an adult. He'll be laughing and Batman.
Yeah.
Um,
He'll grow up.
Did you guys have a favorite story in this? No.
Yeah. A favorite? I didn't have a favorite. There was a bunch of really cool ones. I liked the Daniel Warren Johnson one. The the Bat Beast
Road Warrior.
It was the car, the Batman car.
Oh,
I am Batman. I am a monster truck. Yeah. It was 2 pages. It was stupid and it was beautiful.
Was that only 2 pages? That's crazy.
Yeah.
It was so dense and so so good at drawing me in that my memory, I thought I would have said it was like 4 or 5 pages. That's interesting.
This was just awesome altogether. And I like the what was it? Billy the Street? Is that like this is a character? Danny the Street.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of that. I know now, we talked about it offline, but I read that issue or that story and was just like, that's badass. Just in general, as it was, not knowing. So like, I don't even know if there was a weak one here. Maybe the Dino one was a little weak-ish, but it wasn't even like, I liked all of this. This was all really fun. Yeah. And the ones that could have overstayed their welcome very much didn't, because they were only like 2 to 3 pages. Yeah. This was cool. This was really cool.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Brian, I'm sorry. What's your answer? Did you have a favorite?
My favorite one, I kind of felt the same way. I had a few emerging one. Like I really liked the first one. I liked
it too.
What's that?
I liked it too. Yeah.
That was really cool. The Robin King and the one that Noel mentioned about the that ends with the Batmobile. I guess we could call him. But yeah, those are the 3 that stood out for me.
And also too, I liked the Tony Daniels art.
Was that Tony Daniels?
The whole first story is Tony Daniel. Yeah.
I like Tony Daniels. I know he that is not a popular opinion. But
I am not a giant fan of his, but I really liked it here. I don't know.
Cool.
I can't tell you why. Maybe I was just enjoying the story a lot more.
This was definitely a better version of the Tony S. Daniel art. I thought the same thing. I was like, oh, this is better than I usually expect from Tony S. Daniel. Yeah. Let's move on to Deceased Dead Planet #2 by Tom Taylor and not David Hairsine, Trevor Hairsine. The sequel to the best-selling miniseries continues. The Justice League is trapped on Earth, and they've discovered that life still survives on this dead planet. Survival is precarious, though, and with billions of infected still roaming the surface, death lies around every corner. But it isn't just the anti-living our heroes have to worry about, because John Constantine, Swamp Thing, and Zatanna are about to discover another evil growing.
Cool.
It's fun. I'm
Roy Harper.
I'm really digging this Deceased series.
Roy Harper deserved to die, and I'll tell you why. Anybody that has a backwards ball cap as their uniform, you're done. You're done.
But no, he's also got wraparound shades.
Ooh, that does.
He probably has the metal testicles that hang from your truck.
He probably vapes too. Doesn't matter. Oh, you vape.
I do, but that was more of a like, hey, I should quit smoking and let's go down. I wasn't like, yo.
No, I'm talking about like a Fruity Pebble guy, or like he vapes Fruity Pebbles in the street, and is more concerned with the largeness of the plume.
Oh, I go
anything
out of
else.
my way. If I'm around people, I'm like, no, the smallness of my plume.
Oh, the smallness of my plume.
Yeah, and I never do it in front of kids.
I'll be honest. When I walk past someone who's vaping,
Yeah.
and it's and it's Fruity Pebbles, I'm like, oh. This was friggin' awesome. I had posted my excitement about this issue in our group chat, and Len was like,
Meh.
I don't give a fuck.
What was the moment, JD? I was curious. You seem to, at a particular moment in the story, be like, "Oh,
Wait, can I guess?
I have
I
a guess
mean-
too," and I think it's the same one.
It's Shadow Pact. The Shadow Pact shows up, and then Plastic Man. Brrr.
That was what.
Yeah.
I
Well, it was that whole sequence, like that whole sequence.
I was like, "That was Plastic Man." Oh shit!
And is that the island?
It was the River of Blood.
Is that the island from Unkillables with the bad guys there, or
I don't?
They're not there anymore, right?
And most of them were killed.
Yeah.
Despite the name. Yeah. I think that island was in the middle of the ocean, and Wonder Woman.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
But
Sorry.
these could be some of those people.
Yeah, some of those. It seems as though it's like a villain stronghold.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is such a cool book. I'm super happy with this book. Also, I hope that Swamp Thing and John aren't dead or gonna die.
I assume not.
But
Yeah.
but Blue Devil and Zatanna
Oh man,
got it real bad.
that sucked. Yeah.
Real
It was
bad.
brutal.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
This was a brutal book.
Unexpected. Like I did not see them dying at all. Like one page earlier. You know. Yeah.
And just the way that it goes down is every panel. I was like, oh no, good.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great.
This is great.
Yeah.
I think
And
a lot of this book is the shock factor. Tom Taylor relies very heavily on shock factor to push the story forward.
Yeah.
But boy, it works.
Yeah.
So many times where I'm like, oh shit.
I was gonna say it's shock value, but it's not like just to be edgy.
Mhm.
Everything that he does, he will back it up with reasons why. Like he'll kill main characters, but it's just to bolster up this other side character that you didn't know was so badass. Like he never leaves a crack unfilled, which is really, really cool.
Also, he has like solid comic support. What's that?
Eyeball.
I'm just zooming in on the John Constantine panel, and I saw there's just this.
Whose eye is that?
I mean,
I'm assuming it's Blue Devils.
There's a lot of
oh
eyes.
yeah, he did get it out of every orifice.
Oh yeah. And the shock factor also comes with solid comic lore like support, right? Like the shock of like, oh, that thing that you thought was a river of blood is Plastic Man. That checks out. That could be Plastic Man.
Yeah.
I like that kind of thing. And so those kind of twists are especially shocking.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm digging this. This is just as good, if not a little better, than the previous Deceased.
This has just been great all along. Yeah, Tom Taylor, thumbs up. You know, like the conversation that would have happened if Len was here is this is a gimmick.
Yeah,
and he's right.
Yeah,
but it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good gimmick. You throw zombies into a book and it's just like, it's zombie popularity, but it's legitimately good. Like it's written well and it's drawn exciting.
Here's the thing. Zombie popularity was a gimmick 10 years ago. We have since gotten tired of zombies. Now this is just a zombie story in the DC universe, right?
I mean, I think it's cyclical. They're coming back. Like now the Marvel zombies are coming back, and then there's a new Walking Dead show coming. Like it's not really gone away. It's just kind of not been as zeitgeisty.
Yeah.
You guys
James says the pull quote for the book would be Tom Taylor fills the cracks and makes it come out of every orifice.
Yeah.
I challenge Optimus Douche to make any reference that's not sexually charged. Just any at all.
Nope. So, Christopher Goodnight, you have asked me twice now, and you are now asking if I've answered the question that you've asked me twice, which is, do I have any Daredevil back issues of the current run? I'm in the middle of a stream, and I can't go leave to check my stock right now. So if you want to hit me up later, I will be more than happy to check my stock. I will let you know what I'm able to track down for you. Absolutely.
Don't you remember the email from last week, was it, or the week before? He doesn't have patience with retailers all the time. So
Empire
2 minutes.
4. Let me see. I'm going to go to the banners. I'm going to click the banner. There it is. Empire number 4. Look at that. By Al Ewing and Dan Slott with art by Valerio Schiti. Tensions mount as the action heats up. As the attack on Wakanda intensifies, the heroes find themselves under attack from their enemies and their allies. In a war where nobody can be fully trusted, betrayal cuts deep as the alien invasion claims its first casualty. In this issue, the shock ending you never expected. You'll want to frame it for your wall, true believer.
Yeah.
Did you guys want to frame this for your wall?
I mean, the splash page of the marriage. Sure. I mean, not my wall, but I get how people would celebrate it.
You didn't just take it out of the frame right now to look at for this podcast. You didn't take it out of the frame that you already had it in.
You know why this wasn't a shock ending? Because it was all over the internet before I read the book.
What was the ending? What was the shock ending?
Hey, they at least waited till Thursday.
Teddy and what's his nuts they had previously gotten married.
Oh, right. Did we not know about that before?
No.
Okay, cool.
I mean, at least Marvel waited till Thursday to announce a press release, as opposed to the Monday before.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
And you know, a lot of the news sites have posted the picture.
Yeah.
So as you're scrolling, even if you don't click on the thing, well, I guess they're married. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Especially news sites that, well, maybe not especially, but news sites that aren't comic news sites, I've found have been
That's weird.
Egregious with if it's something that makes like the main, like non-comic news, people will. He's helping customers that come in.
He goes and helps people so they're not like standing there at the door with wide eyes. That's all.
Yeah. But he definitely loves to help people out, and I'm sure he'll help you out as soon as he can. But there's a difference in urgency when somebody walks into the store.
A little bit.
He doesn't want to do that. It's how he's got to do it to run a shop.
The rest of the book was. I've lost my train of thought. The She-Hulk bit.
Oh, that was awesome. That was super gross. Awesome.
That did seem a little too easy, right? That She-Hulk was like, I'm with you guys, even though I got this hammer and it totally changed my personality.
Yeah.
That was a good ambush.
Yeah, that was fun.
Just nasty body horror.
Oh, yeah, it's super gross.
Yeah.
I don't care about Koi.
What?
No.
Yeah.
You'd care even less if you read Celestial Messiah, because that was garbage.
I tried to read it. I got 3 pages in, and I went, nah.
I read it. It was Mantis. So it takes place before issue 3 of Empire, where Mantis shows up at the very end, like, I'm here, guys.
Yeah.
That's her line. I think it's like, I'm here, guys.
What's up, y'all?
Hey. I believe that's. And she dabs real hard on the Avengers platform. Like they feel it in the hole. No, it takes place before that. She is on her way to there, and Koi is doing some sort of like thing with his father where he has to drink a potion and see some visions. It's like a real like Vision Quest kind of thing for Kotati. He's doing it, and she projects herself into his vision, and they have like a heart-to-heart where he is constantly whining, beats her up a couple times. She keeps trying to talk to him. He beats her up again. And then the only thing that was really, really cool about it was they brought up something that happened in the Guardians of the Galaxy run. Like they rectified this character being the same as that older character kind of thing. But have you guys ever read Dan Abnett and Lanning's Guardians run?
Yeah. Oh, I loved it.
So I don't care about spoiling it to JD. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
Do you remember the whole subplot where Peter convinces? Do you remember the whole subplot where Peter convinces her to manipulate every other member to want to help?
Nope.
So like they had the
yeah. It was revealed that's what had been done.
Yeah,
kind of.
so like they all had their initial mission where they were all gonna part ways. Before they parted ways, he convinced Mantis to plant some, psychic seeds in everybody when you're called to come and help. Like to almost just like against their will to be members of the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Right.
So that was brought up again and shown about her traitorous ways and why should I trust you and blah, 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 which was really cool. And I completely forgot about it. But other than that, the issue was utter garbage.
Yeah, she's always been one of those. Right. She's always been kind of one of those, like, kind of on a different plane. We don't know what's going on with you. And you might be doing things that.
Like
kind of deal.
Am I here because I want to be here, or am I here because you wanted me to be here, kind of thing?
Right.
Which is a decent conflict. Yeah.
Yeah.
This book, however, I'm enjoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about the Fantastic Four Iron Man armor? I don't know why it's coming into existence, but we'll see.
Yeah, they make this case that he's building this armor to kind of cope and prepare, because that's how he prepares. But there's no reason why it should have a 4 on it. And I'm not exactly sure what he's doing.
Or why it should be a suit of armor that his technology, he's like, I do armors. You're like, you can do a lot of stuff. But if Reed Richards is going to be in that armor, which I just thought of now, you've got like the two of the smartest men in Marvel, like merged in a way. That could be cool. Maybe that's what they're building too.
That'd be different. I'd be down.
Yeah. I'm curious at least.
Yeah.
And I like that they're dealing with Tony and his insecurities about what's happening and what the regret for his immediate alliance with the Katati and everything, which we all thought was very strange in the first issue.
He was being like
they were manipulated to do that. Yeah,
like because he was having dreams and he was just like on board right away. Like,
yeah, we get it now, but at the time,
right.
Is this poorly written or is it?
Right.
And so now we're like, oh, okay, that wasn't just an accident.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying this. Let's move on to.
Noel, did you have any questions for JD about anything?
No, I'm here for you guys.
No, nothing. Oh, okay.
Let's move on to Far Side number 7 by N.K. Jemisin and Jamal Campbell. On today's agenda, a giant mech fight, transforming her consciousness into digital information, and a high-speed pursuit through an alien computer network, all with 6 minutes of power left. But it's all in a day's work for Green Lantern Joel Mullion, as she comes closer to unraveling the greatest conspiracy the Green Lantern Corps has ever seen. Far Sector continues on a new bi-monthly schedule.
Isn't it Mullen?
Mullane, I think.
Sojourner Mullen? Whatever.
I think she's from New Orleans, right? Or right? Is that part of her?
I don't remember.
From somewhere down somewhere.
I look at it and I read Mullen. It's fine. I would never have. So I don't read the solicits. I wouldn't have read that. I wouldn't have if I would have read that, I wouldn't have been as wonderfully surprised as the rest of this issue was. Like it starts with a great big fight. You learn a new thing that the AT-AT can do, and then she pursues within she essentially goes into the internet to pursue them, which was all like a shock and surprise, and it was awesome.
Yeah, I like the.
I've asked Siri how to pronounce that, so I'm gonna wait through this 10-second ad.
Or 1 second of information. Excellent. Yeah, that's good. JD, is that ad for patreon.com?
Yeah.
Mullen.
There you go. Mullen.
Thank you.
Mullen.
Thank you. Yeah. It's just a vowel that's in there. It's Mullen. Yeah.
Yeah, I really would have thought Mullane.
Yeah.
No,
you did.
Maybe her ancestors, but
maybe.
Yeah.
I was just talking about. I have ancestors who in Switzerland calls himself the Repier, but down south they're the Repasses. Yeah.
Melly G wants to know how many more months before the first volume of Far Sector will come out.
Is that coming out
I don't know.
in volumes? I don't even know.
I don't think they're going to do a 6-issue trade and then another 6-issue trade. I think they're probably going to wait. This isn't Doomsday Clock, right?
Right.
With the other
while, yeah.
Quite a
while. With the other two, so the other two maxi series that just came out, they're collecting as 12. That's the Jimmy Olsen and the Lois Lane. They didn't do 6-issue. Miracle too, yeah.
It has 12 issues, yeah. So they're probably going to wait until all 12 are out, Melly.
It's so much better that way, in my opinion. We were just talking about this the other day, JD, that like Doomsday Clock and All-Star Superman, I'm like, why isn't there just one volume? This is a whole story. Unfortunately, means we got to wait, but yeah.
I don't know. This slipcase is sick, though.
That is pretty cool.
Nice. I got one for myself.
Yeah, it is good. Ooh, I should get that.
It's a hard one.
Brian, I'll sell it to you.
Do you sell comic? Do you operate and sell a comic book store?
He's trying so hard to get you to pitch.
I'll be right back.
Oh no, that was.
Oh, hey, while you're gone, can you go check on Daredevil back issues for me? The Chip Zdarsky run.
All right, let's leave him alone. Leave him alone. We're having fun. We're having fun, Christopher St. Saucian. We love you. All right. I didn't read Far Sector, so continue.
Oh, I really liked the story. I'm getting more and more engaged with Joe and what she's up to. I was into it from the beginning, but it was a little more of a like I like the grandeur of this sci-fi kind of thing, and I like Joe as a character, but I haven't had much of her yet. And now as we get to know her, I like her more. I've also been curious about what is going on with this Green Lantern ring, and we got a little bit more about that. That it's like not as good as the other ones in some ways, but if you learn to use it, it will be way better than the other ones in other ways. You know?
Yeah, because it doesn't function. It doesn't let issue 18 apparently. We got that. And more.
Ooh.
And 21.
I was kind of hoping you guys would just keep talking and I could just silently show Christopher St. Saucian Goodnight the 2 issues I have. But yeah,
everyone
found everything.
Why would you think that would happen?
We're gonna just continue right back. Look, this book is fun. I'm upset that it's bi-monthly now. I didn't know that.
Is it?
Which means it's going to take even longer to come out, which is fun. Yeah. Which means Naomi's going to take even longer to come out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, this ring. It's not just able to, avoid fear. It functions with fear.
Yeah, I wasn't super. I was like, whatever. But I like the ring thing. What you can do with the ring. Yeah.
Here, I'll read it verbatim because it's a very like talk around explanation. Like,
live with fear. I think I know the social commentary that she's going for. Sorry, no. Go.
No.
I think I know the social commentary that she's going for, and like, great, like that's awesome. But
well, explain it to me then. Here.
Okay. Yeah.
The will to overcome fear is powerful, but singular, an acute manifestation. What I have chosen to study is the more nuanced willpower required to live with fear, to push toward a goal over years against a whole society with no hope of reward. This will fuels your ring. It spikes lower in terms of absolute power, but once you learn to harness it fully, worlds will fall before your rise. So, what does that mean?
I believe that. So, like Green Lantern mythology-wise, I'm a little like, I don't know, whatever. But I believe that the commentary that is being made is, Sojourner Mullen is, I believe, steeped in the racial inequalities of her background, and a lot of this story is either on the face or subtext-wise relates to that, right? And at least some of it, or like, also dealing with the police aspect because she was a police officer and there was that. I believe what they are saying is that she is of a people who they constantly live in fear and get along with it, and get over on it and have the ability to keep going anyway. And so I think that is the commentary that is being made. Like I said, how the Green Lantern rings work, I was a little like, that's not that different from the other ones. You know, they also overcome great fear, but whatever. That's not really that big.
We're just we buy in on the idea. We're just confused about the rules. Is that pretty much what we're getting at? Because I am also. Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, oh, hey, that rule doesn't matter that much. Just accept that this is how her ring works. Look, it changed. Don't worry about the other stuff. Move on. Let's deal with the metaphor. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it allows her to do things that other Green Lanterns can't. So in this one alone, we see her able to essentially ride the lightning and become metaphysical.
Right. Yeah. She was able to go into the...
She goes into the internet.
Yeah. And
so there's if it's some sort of abilities that can be unlocked when you know fear, or when you actively use willpower or agency against or in the face of constant fear. Sure. Just spell it out a little bit. Maybe it needs to be more heavy-handed, so I can apply a very simple rule to it for just the physicality of the ring.
My only issue with it was like, well, the other ones already do that by other Green Lantern stuff that has been talked about. But that doesn't matter to this story. You know what I mean? Like, I can just easily discard that.
Well, wait, they already do it, but it's overcoming feir.
Right.
But in an acute sense, not in a constant
That's
persecution of, right?
Yeah.
So if you're already like friends with fear.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I between being afraid of heights and being afraid of
falling.
And being like constantly living in a state that your existence puts you in jeopardy.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm curious to see how people are going to respond to this, because I imagine there's going to be quite a great deal many people who are upset, because this is basically saying this is a commentary on white privilege, isn't it?
Sure. Well,
a bunch of people are like, that doesn't exist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so people will complain about it if they're told that's what it says, and if they're even fucking reading it.
I bet you those people aren't even reading this book.
They read 2 issues of it, and they're just like, it's not my Green Lantern.
Yeah. Hashtag not my TL.
I
like the idea, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. And she also, like, she doesn't need to recharge the ring, but she can't recharge the ring. Like, there's she gets and doesn't get. Yeah.
Wait, what? She doesn't have to she can't recharge the ring, but she doesn't have to. But like, wasn't she down to like 4% or something?
It recharges just on its own.
It recharges over time, so she's very economical with it.
Where like, just by walking around, you start to build up again.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. Which has advantages and disadvantages.
We made fun of a couple weeks ago too, or a couple episodes ago when we talked about this. Like, why would you construct sunglasses if you're constantly depleting a battery? Stop it. But I think it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. I mean, technically, even the Green Lanterns, like, even in the Kyle Rayner era where it's not 24 hours unlimited, they still do stuff that you're like, well, if you really were having a Green Lantern ring. Yeah. Oh, that's
Rob Beatty says it's true will and perseverance versus reactionary will to save your ass.
Yeah.
Thank you. Mwah. This is why we miss you on the show, Rob.
Also, sexual innuendo.
They weren't really there for you, but
it's made by Tesla. What, the middle testicle of the Crypt Keeper?
Yeah, that's definitely what we're talking about. Let's move on to Giant Size X-Men.
Wait, JD, I must insist. I have an announcement to make.
Oh.
There is a website called patreon.com. And you, the audience, or you, JD and Noel, if you really wanted to, could subscribe and donate a certain amount of money.
I refuse.
Yeah. I know. We've had beating my head against the wall with you, getting to donate to patreon.com. But the viewing audience, they might be into it. And maybe JD. Now, I don't know what you would call the specifics of how to donate to us, because I hear it a lot, but I constantly need to ask what those are.
Patreon.com/Johnny Destructo.
Sweet.
Right?
Sweet. It's literally on the screen.
Oh, it's on the screen.
Hey,
Also, too,
Patreon.
while we're doing plugs, some of you are watching this on YouTube, some of you aren't. Be sure to subscribe and like. Follow us on social media. Know when we go live. Post as many videos as possible. We're trying to make a better habit of it, of enjoying conversation with you. So please like, subscribe, follow, blah, blah, blah. We done?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, we got a comment. Oh, the ring.
The ring. Yes.
The ring is made by Tesla, not
the testicle. The testicle ring that he wears. Yeah.
I saw a pretty good meme made by Dan Slott this week, and it was an image from Jim Lee. I believe it's from the New 52 Justice League issue 1, and there's a Hal Jordan image, and he's got a Gatling gun where his crotch is, and it says, for those...
Yeah.
What was it? For those who worship evil's meanness, beware my light, Green Lanterns. It's pretty good. All right. Giant Size X-Men, Phantom X #1 by John Hickman and Rod Reis. Reis? Hickman and Reis take on the world. The hit creative team turned their attention to the covert activities of the Weapon Plus program's Weapon 10, 11, 12. Weapon 13. A bread killer who chooses the life of a gentleman super thief. Phantom X has always defied expectations. For example, who would expect him to break into the world, the artificial realm of his creation, and then again, and then again? I didn't read this either.
Who wouldn't expect him to do that?
I liked this, but I liked it because I like the characters, and these giant size issues have been boring.
Regular sized?
Oh, I mean, they're like 10 extra pages, but
yeah.
I wouldn't call that giant. It's just like extra sized. But regardless, they've been pretty boring. I have not liked that. Like I like when they take chances kind of thing, or do like fun stuff with the format, like the Dowderman one. Sorry, you were going to say something?
No, the first one. Yeah, I'm agreeing.
The first one was great. But then
Jean Grey,
the Jean Grey, Emma Frost one, going to Storm's mind, which this one picks back up a little bit towards the end, which is cool. But the idea of that Phantom X throughout being born, every decade or a couple of decades goes to try and break back into the world to visit his twin brother, to visit his, to ask him if he's ready to leave yet. Like, hey, are you ready to escape? No? Okay, I'll see you in 10 years. Kind
of thing. Like the two figures over time meeting occasionally to have sometimes the same conversation. I like that story structure,
It was cool, and it added a lot of heft to Phantom X's timeline, how long he's been around, and it did touch on his introduction in Grant Morrison's New X-Men. One of the times that he goes to break in, he solicits the help of Leather Jacket, Scott, and Wolverine. That's directly from New X-Men, which was really, really fun.
Like where they're at the bar, and now
I'm almost positive. I haven't read it in a long time, but I'm almost positive because Phantom X felt like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah, he did.
And all of a sudden it's the world and EVA and all the crazy shit. Yeah.
Speaking of the world, I really like the art that they do with the world as it gets more evolved and different.
Advanced.
Yeah, and it gets all surreal, basically, twisting around and that kind of thing. I'm taking 1 minute to say hello to the best meat, whom I have not seen here comment before. So hello, thank you. I also haven't even seen that icon. It's like a little purple. It's not a Facebook or YouTube.
Oh, Twitch. We're on Twitch now.
Oh, cool. You must have discussed that when I wasn't here and I was running late this morning.
Yeah, I mean, some of us are on time.
Some of you are, and you get the information.
When you're late, you're stupid.
I don't get it.
This was a fun issue. I really like Rod Reis's art too. the work that he did with Hickman on those New Mutants books that no one liked but me, this felt like that. Also in tone, because Phantom X is a very glib, funny character.
Mhm.
Not like if Deadpool is a 10, he's like a 4.
Yeah. Which book were you talking about? The New Mutants that House of X came out of House of X?
Yeah.
Oh,
The Hickman issues, the space issues.
No, I'm with you on that. I like
Well,
that.
then it was just you and me then. Everyone else complained.
Yeah. No, I enjoyed this.
The
This is kind of what that was
says
like.
hello.
Oh yes, hello. We got into it.
I missed it. Wait, you got into it with the best meat?
Oh yeah, we were fighting.
Oh,
Yeah. He's giving us the silent treatment. Or she.
Or she.
They are giving us the silent treatment. We don't. Yeah.
are we done the Phantom X bit?
Yeah.
Unless you have something to say about it.
I hope this is the end of the giant size issues.
I
Let's
I
move on.
know Storm was and
Oh.
go. Yeah.
Is that the last one?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think so.
I have been enjoying them. They're certainly not. I like the last one better, but you guys didn't care for it. But they're like not that consequential. But I've been enjoying them.
Two have the first one and this one, and these are the two that I've enjoyed the most.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I always thought it was interesting. Someone mentioned, I don't remember what issue it was in, but I think someone mentioned that Phantom X isn't French. He fakes it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
He's a reference to a French movie, I believe.
Fantomas.
Fantomas, yeah, which I am only familiar with because Phantom X is a reference to a French movie.
Yeah.
I have no other doings with that movie.
Let's move on to Strange Adventures number 4 by Tom King, Mitch Gerrits, and Evan Doc Shaner. Welcome to Planet Ran, Mr. Terrific. Earth's champion of fair play has traveled halfway across the galaxy to investigate firsthand the crimes Adam Strange stands accused of. He's not going to find many friendly witnesses, though, as the people of Ran consider Adam Strange their true champion. Yet for all the resistance Mr. Terrific faces on the surface of Ran, his true opposition may be lurking closer to his subject than he realizes. This adventure between two worlds continues, with Mitch Gerrits drawing the gritty Earth sequences and Evan Doc Shaner showing us the splendor of Adam Strange's battles in outer space. This book is so good. I love it so much. What did you think, guys? Tell me now.
Brian?
Oh, this book. This book.
Oh, he doesn't like it.
You know how I feel about this book. It's not that the storytelling is bad. The art is phenomenal. I think at this point also partially it's just, this is what Tom King does. And I am not into that.
Yeah.
But I could be in the right circumstances, but everybody is bad and slimy and
No, they're not.
You don't think so?
No.
I don't know.
They're just not all forthright. I think that's a very okay thing. Like, I honestly don't think that it's going to be revealed that Adam Strange is a fucking horrible person or that
No, I think
Alana is. That's not going to happen.
I think he did a bad thing during war, and that is the story. Like, he's a good man did a bad thing during war, but the whole parallels between they care about public opinion and are influencing it, and she's like, I think you're done here, Mr. Terrific, and that kind of stuff. It's like I said, it's not a bad, and he's mad at Hal, his good friend, which I always wondered, why didn't Adam Strange just get one of his spacefaring friends to fly him to Ran? And enough with the Zeta beam already. Strange.
It's in the book, and
now,
all of it is valuable.
I meant in the past, why don't you get one of your friends, But it's, I don't know, the grittiness and things are not as they seem. Just we're in a vicious cycle now with this book and Tom King's writing for me, that I'm just it's all just more, and everybody is not forthright, and Ran is clearly censoring the picked stuff, but Sardath I can see being a little double dealing.
What governments do.
It is what governments do. Here, it doesn't have to be what they do everywhere. And that's maybe part of why I'm Tom King, you think the world has to be this way. Does it? And maybe that's not true. Maybe he's just exploring the themes that come into his mind from his own life. That is probably what has happened. But, Sardath is bald, so he might be shady, right? So he's an old sciencey guy. But, I don't know. It's fine. Like you said, it's a black label. It's not going to affect, hopefully, the Adam Strange in main continuity.
Especially since there's barely an Adam Strange in main continuity.
True. Although he's been uncharacteristically around in the Superman books.
He's been in like 4 issues,
exactly.
Of 20 something.
So exactly.
Far.
Uncharacteristically.
Two of those were like one-liners.
Oh,
he calls Earth like, "Hey guys."
Yeah. I think this is Samuel David's commenting. Everyone does bad things during war. It's war.
Exactly. And I don't necessarily want to read a story about my sci-fi hero having gone through war with the twist of like, hey, you thought everything was good, but it wasn't. It's
I would be very interested. So I loved this book, but I would be very interested in you reading Omega Men. Tom King did.
I started Omega Man and I really liked it. I didn't keep up with it, but and same with Mr. Miracle. I started and really liked it. Omega Man is that kind of thing, and Rob, you're right that it might just be that I'm like, Tom King is bringing that perspective, and it feels like it's like this is how the world has to be. Everyone is shady, and that may or may not be true, but
So I think the difference. So everything you're saying is true.
Yeah.
Or is accurate. I don't think it's an agenda of his. I think it's a story he's trying to tell.
Yeah. I think it's just like he sees the world in this way for these stories. Like maybe not in the real world. I hope not, but I don't know.
I like this.
Yeah, and I'm sorry.
I think this is really fun.
You guys, like I'm glad that you enjoy it. It's good.
And I'm glad that you don't enjoy it.
Thank you. That's weird, but I rather enjoy things. But
as I'm reading, I'm like, Brian hates this book. I hope he hates it more now.
Yeah, I'm hate loving it because you hate it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Maybe I can find a way to like it over. Maybe I can find things appealing about it over the course of the run.
Todd Engel.
You don't have to fake it.
I won't.
Right.
I definitely won't. Yeah, that's true. Maybe there will be a twist to that. Excellent point. Maybe it'll be like, oh, she actually isn't that bad.
Let him read it.
What twist are you referencing? I haven't had time to read the actual comment.
I'm sorry.
Alana is being written so obviously bad that I hope there's some twist. Defensive cigarette smoking WVIL?
Villain?
Evil.
Oh, evil. Oh,
Defensive cigarette smoking evil.
Yeah.
It's very heavy, like not heavy-handed. It's very. Everyone is being defensively protective of themselves.
Yeah.
Which I don't consider a grittying or a grittiness. I consider it humanistic.
Yeah.
So I like applying these defensive, protective, humanistic kind of aspects to a weird, far-ranging story like this that, from Rand to Earth. I think that's pretty cool. I don't think it's dragging anyone through the mud because, as Rob Patey just put its perspective, we're not getting, or I'm saying perspective of the characters, he's saying perspective of the writer.
Right.
We're not getting all the perspectives like we would in other comic books where we have thought balloon. Well, there are some captions, but it's not all revealed yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm rolling with it, and I am enjoying this ride.
Same.
Cool.
Same.
Yeah.
He says it's perspective, not agenda.
Yeah.
And Tom King is very specifically, or famously, I think, drawing upon his own experiences when he writes these books.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what I'm like. I really don't want that to be the truth of the world. And I honestly don't believe that it is. And when I see something that makes it seem like that is the case, sometimes I react like, I don't like that view. And sometimes the world is the way that it is because we think it has to be that way. And it doesn't like they could all be friends and trust each other. And I'm worried about the daughter too, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm curious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm worried also.
Yeah.
So I don't take this as an indictment of the world is like this. It's just there are some people in the world like this,
I guess,
and they should be like,
you know,
it's not a awful worldview. It's in the world there are people like this, and they should be,
Yeah, but
dealt
I
with
see
or
what
handled
Brian's
or
saying when it comes to what Tom King does. This is what Tom King does.
Right.
He takes a Silver Age character who is generally, for the most part, like a bright beacon of hope or whatever, and he's like, but no, what if he was not that?
Yeah, exactly. It's that question.
it's the third time, right? Vision, Miracle, and Strange.
I mean,
And,
even in a way, Wild West, and you could make a case Batman. I mean, Thomas Wayne was not. He is a Batman, and was certainly not a bad guy. He was a darker Batman, but I didn't read that run. I just am going from what you guys said.
The idea with Thomas Wayne was just he was as militant as Batman about his mission as Batman is about his, and that turned him into an opposing force, not a villain.
Right, but an antagonist.
That makes sense.
Oh
no, he was all of the very nasty stuff was done by Bane. It was the in league bullshit, and like he was a pure opposing force because he thought he was doing what's best for his son.
Yeah, I mean, which at least fits in. It's at least corollary to the other stuff, and but maybe judging it on the other stuff that he's written is not. It put me in that headspace.
Yeah,
fair or unfair, I don't know.
Let's move on to Undiscovered Country number 7 by Scott Snyder, Charles Soule, and Giuseppe Camuncoli. After barely escaping the deadly clutches of the Destiny Man, the expedition team has crossed over into a strange new zone of Unity, a futuristic world of gleaming technology and artificial intelligence. But will it be a safe haven for our heroes? Or are they destined to be absorbed into the hive mind? I feel like that's a leading question. I feel like we know the answer just because you asked the question.
You think they're going to be safe?
Totally. This is the last issue. Everything worked out fine. They are now safe and happy.
Yeah.
And that's the end. It's great.
It's done. Bit of a cliffhanger.
What did you guys think of it?
I loved it. I continue to love it. Yeah. Not as much wild art in this one, but the white scene with the blue and red like kind of lines in it and the things coming up, very cool. That is awesome. The cover with the QR code and the barcode. I was surprised there were not 6 zeros, but 7's good too. That was cool. I dug that we got a little bit of the backstory as to how this happened, and I think it was time for they split up into these different zones, and then the time things started. I think there's a Sam Elgin in every zone, which I find an interesting and satisfying answer to that mystery.
It's the why now, or it's not the why, it's the how. So him being a part of the Aurora group, which I guess is the scientists, they're totally doing Krypton, right? The Science Guild.
Interesting.
The house is trying to warn everybody, like, fucking stop it. Unchecked regulation is going to destroy us completely. You have to stop it, please. And here's all the reasons why. And they're just constantly being shushed. So I'm wondering, like, if this is a reverse kind of what Jor-El would have done instead of like shoot off into another planet or go across the pond, trying to like either refashion himself into each district to try and like fix it from within, right? So and it's making me think too that this circular path that they're supposed to take in order to get out, the spiral, I think it has to do explicitly with time displacement.
Oh yeah,
going, but then also having to interact with every single Sam that's thrown out everywhere. It's almost just like the next level of a video game. Like this Sam will get you to this point. This Sam will get you. So like, there's a lot of really, really cool things that kind of like are introduced here that issue 2 or 3, I would have told you I'm going to drop this book because I'm going to wait.
You did.
I did. Yeah. Issue 5, 6. I was like, okay, I'll stick around.
Cool.
And then for 7, he was just like, do you want to keep it on your list? Like, I'm good to like 12. Let's see.
Just a little bit more. Just give me a little bit more.
I'm gonna re-up every arc.
I was wondering at the end. I think you raised this question: is this an ongoing?
So
it is.
It's an ongoing, but in the back matter, they literally say they have an ending. They know the ending.
Okay. Yeah, that makes me happier. Yeah.
If this is gonna be if it's less than 50 issues, I'm in. That's cool. If it's gonna be 185,000 Walking Dead issues, I'm gonna drop it eventually. I like this is a very specific story they seem to be telling with a specific path and endpoint of getting out of America.
Walking the spiral. I love that.
If this happens for like 150 issues, no, it's like Lost all over again. Like no.
Hey Brian.
Yeah.
Rob Patey wants to know, what's this book about?
Okay. Also, you mentioned Lost. I just heard they wanted that to only be 3 seasons, apparently. And the studio. I didn't know that. What is this book about? Rob, I'm glad you asked. It's about, it's the world at large is beset with a reigning plague. And there is no known cure. America, about 30 years ago, cut itself off from the world, and there's been no communication at all and no like possibility of going in. The rest of the world is kind of formed into 2 major power blocks. They have gotten a message from the United States that I believe it explicitly says that they have a cure for this thing and that they are welcoming these people in for the first time. There's at least one of the guys has done a lot of study on America, and he knows that there's some real weird shit going on. But he doesn't know how weird, because as it turns out, there is a lot of time displacement stuff happening too, or different. There was some initial conditions. No,
stop! Don't spoil all of it. Just explain. Like we don't learn the extent of all that stuff until like almost the end of the first arc.
I thought with the whole, there was something early on that I thought triggered that, but it might not have been explicitly said. Okay.
We know things are weird. Yeah.
They get into the US and there is a lot of weird stuff going on, and there are different weird things happening, and the art is phenomenal with the weird stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. They're derelict inside America. The whole search party is derelict inside of America, and they have to figure out how to get out. But that proves harder and harder the more and more they learn about what's happened inside the bubble over the last 30 years. Read it.
It's real good. It's real good.
It's really good. I like the back matter this time too, which I tend to skip over, but the different flags of the different zones.
Yeah.
Those were pretty cool. Yeah.
The social commentary, the social commentary of this entire series has been essentially on the surface this entire time, but this one felt even the most egregious or specific because you literally have factions of the country that are about certain things. You have like the farmers that are like militant about this. You have like the gun nuts or the conservatives, and then you have like the liberals and the science. Like it's and the way that they all kind of try and skirt the issue or around it. And then also too, the president of the United States it's Clint Eastwood with an eye patch.
Yeah.
So you know that it is just visually, you know that they're trying to say that this is a staunch conservative states' rights kind of person. Because visually it
is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
I did not see that.
The stuff I am every single week I am just like giddy about the stuff you do notice versus the stuff you don't notice.
Really?
And it's awesome because the etymology of the Lein versus Len in Mullen or Moline versus that's clearly Clint Eastwood with an eye patch.
That's fascinating. All right, cool.
So like visually they tell you, like, because he's known to be a gun nut, staunch conservative, and very problematic. So they're trying to tell you that this is like an actor inserted president that's just all about states' rights and no federalism, and that's essentially what they're doing in this country. In the book, and it's like really fun and smart, but then also aggravating in a good way.
We did it.
That was it.
The books.
Oh, may I say?
Shit. Oh shit! We didn't do it.
Oh,
I missed one. How did I miss that? Higher Power #2 by Robert Kirkman and Chris Samnee. Owen Johnson thought he could turn his back on his training, his power, and that dangerous world he never wanted to be a part of. Unfortunately for Owen and his family, the danger has found him, and whether he wants it or not, the firepower is the only thing that can save them. This is fun. It's half of this issue is silent, and I don't care because Chris Samnee is just I just want to lick the book. It's so good. The art is so good. The choreography is great, and it's in a genuinely fun sequence where he's fighting ninja and trying not to wake up his sleeping family who is in the room with him.
Yeah. Luckily, the ninjas are trying just as hard to not wake up his family.
Yeah, well, we learn why afterwards. They're not really bad ninjas. They're just ambivalent ninjas.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? A younger me would have been pissed.
What about?
Where's the dialogue? Like I didn't like. It took me 2 minutes to read.
It's like half an episode. Where's the hell?
Yeah. I wouldn't have taken.
That's younger Noel. Oh, that's like that.
That's young triggered Noel. What you just did there. Yeah.
That hurt.
With T-Rex arms. If you could do it again, that'd be great. I would like a younger me would have just been like, well, I mean, it took me 2 seconds to read. I didn't get my money's worth. Blah. But this was beautiful and awesome. And I read this issue like 3 times.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah, it was just so good. And it's not unlike what him and Mark Waid did on their Black Widow run. 12 issues of competent, silent, direct, focused, like action and fun. Like this is awesome.
That's good too.
Everyone should pick that up. It's so good. I think it's $29.99 for the whole run. It's like 13 issues or something. Yeah. It's Chris Samnee and Mark Waid. And also too, the way that Chris Samnee works with his writers, they break story together. He is he's not like an artist for hire. So they work it all out together and he just does it. And then like they go back and do dialogue. And that means Robert Kirkman was probably just like, I don't need to put shit here. This is fine. Yeah.
You guys know about the Stan Lee thing, right? Where
it's Mega Marvel. Yeah.
No, not that. That too. But who was it? Steve Ditko wrote the first. I actually heard him tell this story at a con. When he wrote the first silent issue of a comic, was like a Nick Fury Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that. And Stan Lee didn't want to pay him because he was like, you didn't write any words. You know?
I believe that.
I
believe that. Yeah.
Of course. And he convinced Lee to pay him. But there were a few interesting stories that came out of that con appearance.
Yeah, you know what I've heard? I've heard many writers, many comic book artists and writers talk about how one of the toughest things to do is write a silent issue.
Oh, I can totally.
Like having to like pay the most attention to every single panel is almost harder than anything else. I think Bendis did it with Ultimate Spider-Man 2. I think one of them most recently. It was the Ultimatum issue. I think like they're searching for Peter's body the whole time.
Yeah.
And it's just all splash pages and acting. And it was Stuart Immonen, which was awesome.
I mean, the artist certainly like has an expanded role, of course, in a silent issue. But the writer definitely does something too. Yeah. And
this isn't a complete silent issue. It's just like half of it, but still, like, if you haven't been reading this series, the first 2 issues came out this past week, technically, because issue 1 was a free comic book day. The only difference between, I think somebody was asking online somewhere, the difference between the free comic book day version and this, virtually nothing. Like it's the paper stock and quality is like 10 times better, and there's back matter. But other than that, the story is the same. The 22 pages is the same.
So I actually hadn't read it before. I think we read it for the show a little while ago, but we didn't get to it for whatever reason. I hadn't read it. So I love this issue, the second issue. I found myself just very slightly disappointed, but in one of those, because the first issue was really good and this issue was really good, but in a very different way. And we didn't get as much about what the story was, you know? And so when we're reading the issue, I was like, oh, this is a good fight scene. But I also really want to know pick up from what was going on last issue, because that was really good too. So I'm glad that they did do enough of that at the end that I was satisfied. And, you know, that's a very minor, it's like a quick because I liked the other thing so much.
This is more like what the Prelude trade paperback was like.
I have not.
It was a lot of,
That was great.
It was a lot of extended sequences of choreography and fighting, or just acting, and then 5 to 10 or like 5 or 6 pages of like actual dialogue and humans interacting. But a lot of it was heavy lifting of art. There was full sequences or full 10-page sequences that were just action and acting, and it was really, really cool.
If this was another artist, I probably would have had a problem with it. But because it's Chris Samnee, and I am just happy to be looking at Chris Samnee art no matter where it happens, it's a very different experience than if somebody else was involved.
He does that jumping real well, right? Like, I think I'm kind of a sucker for. I love the idea of being able to jump up that much. Really, like, calls to me. And when he does, I think it's the first issue, but he's like racing his daughter, and you see him in the back, like, you know, it's very kinetic and airborne is the way that it's drawn. I like that.
Reminds me of when I first walked out of seeing The Matrix in the movie theater. And I felt like I want to jump like that. I want to jump off like that and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys are sleeping on the Firepower book from Chris Samnee and Robert Kirkman, we highly recommend you check it out.
Yeah.
Oh, may I, for just a moment, we decided not to review it, but Maestro, I have always wanted to get my hands on a copy of Maestro.
Same.
And read it, and I never did. I love Peter David. I love his Hulk run, but it was just, that must have been before I was there. And so you felt the same way, JD? So when I saw it here, I was like, oh, great. This is actually that. This is not something that I have to avoid until I read that. Oh, the art is so good. It's so like 80s dystopia art, and the detailing on the sci-fi stuff and the sci-fi destruction. Yeah,
I'm gonna read it this week. So I had like I've always thought about reading that Peter David run, but it's pretty expansive. And I don't know. It took me, like, there's so many other things that I'd like to read. He's gonna go grab the omnibus. It's fine. Yeah.
That was some of my earliest Hulk, I think, was like a comic that I remember having around so long that I don't remember when I got it. Is like
that bad boy's already out of print, dude.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Or very, very hard to get.
Yeah.
But the second volume's coming out, I think, sometime later this year.
I think it's like was a record-setting length of a run at one time, right? Yeah. It was close anyway. It was, yeah. It was huge. Like, I don't know, 300 issues, 200. I don't know what it was.
Sorry, I don't know if it would be 3.
Yeah, that seems impossibly large. Right? He did a very big 300th issue, actually. That was like, may actually be the cover that I'm talking about. It's like the silhouette of the Hulk, and it's famous.
I mean, we have the internet. I guess I could probably look it up really quick.
You could. Well, but what would the audience do? Just sit here and listen? And enjoy us?
I mean, you could vamp for 2 seconds.
Okay, here we go. That run is such a defining run. It introduced... I don't know that it introduced me to the Hulk, but it was so good when it was some of my earliest Hulk stuff. He does all of the different personalities or different Hulks kind of thing. Have you got it?
Yeah, no. Why would you ask me if I've got it? Like, I was just gonna wait for I'm looking over to like quickly get to it. Like, it's a Wikipedia page, so it's gonna take me like 2 seconds to scan.
I got you. Peter David is a master of character. He put the Hulk through so many different. Like that's the Prometheus stuff. The Professor Hulk was very cool, and he's such a fun comic book writer. You know, he's really. I can't think of anything he's written that I wasn't into. And
you're doing these fun like symbiote Spider-Man tales that take place back when Spider-Man, Peter first had the symbiote costume.
Yeah.
2 miniseries so far: Symbiote Spider-Man, and then the sequel to Symbiote Spider-Man. I forget what it's called, and then he's going to be doing a third one.
Oh, great! I put him up there with, he's different, but like Kurt Busiek, or he's an artist, or he's a writer that I'm always like, this is going to be some good comic book style comics, and the Hulk is maybe not seminal anymore because he's done so many other things, but it was great.
Yeah, I remember it. Very highly regarded.
Yeah, and the Maestro is so storied, but rarely, if ever, touched on it. There might be like one other miniseries that, for me, this is back in the time that I reference sometimes where you got what was in the store, and if you happen to be in a different town, maybe you'd see something crazy on the shelf and get that. Other than that, like, you couldn't get Future Imperfect 1 and 2 at your beck and call,
Same. So
money-wise, like I was
excited about this as well.
Yeah.
And then I just wasn't able to do it.
Yeah. It was always like a major. I mean, obviously, in the years since, I could have ordered it, but I didn't. Yeah. And it lived up to my expectations. It was really good. And there was a little feeling like, oh, something happened right before this. But I think it was actually explained in the book and didn't. Just like how Bruce gets involved in everything. So, yeah.
It was a 12-year run, but it looks to be under 200 issues.
Okay.
Because if we're talking monthly, and it's 2 different titles. Like it's like 150 issues of The Incredible Hulk, but then it changes titles and it's something else for like 3 issues.
It's Captain America.
Oh yeah. Todd Engel, when the Madrox book, that is probably my favorite Madrox version. The X Factor investigations. He's sending the dupes out to get. I want that in hardcover collected. Yeah. All 100 issues of it. Really good. He does. That's another example of like, what interesting thing could I do with this guy's power as it is, but as nobody ever thought to do before. Yeah. Like the Hulk's different colors are the different personalities, or not just colors, but like Joe Fixit, and those are representations of different personalities. That kind of thing. Layla Miller was very cool, very intriguing character. I know things. Oh my God, what an interesting character. I always thought how she actually found out like how she knows things. I was like, oh no. But I was like a little like, oh, that isn't as expansive as I thought it was going to be. But okay, cool, good story. I was into it. Yeah. Anyway, Noel, I'm interested to see what you think.
I'm not committed yet.
Oh, okay.
There's a bunch of other things that I'd like to read.
Oh, okay.
Well, it is something that's going to happen.
If I am unassuaged, then
I am going to read. I am going to read this Future Imperfect because there's a Maestro series coming.
Oh no, that's cool. I'm interested.
Isn't that what you're talking about?
Oh, yeah. I thought he meant the entire run. Like, oh no, not yet. Just relax. Relax. I'm not going to get to that first.
Yeah. Let me know in like 6 or 7 years.
I'm not. No, thank you though. Yeah.
No, just Maestro.
It's too quick.
So there is something coming. Oh, good. Because I thought there was. I thought it might have been this. And I was like, oh, no, I have to review the sequel for the show. But I haven't read it. Okay, cool. I'm glad we got to this before.
No, I popped that, or we plopped that in there so that we could catch up before the thing happened.
Cool. I was pleasantly surprised. Little nostalgia for the style, but I loved it.
So after asking me 3 times about the Daredevil issues I have in stock, I haven't heard back from Christopher St. Saucy. I have issues 18 and 21 of the current run by Chip Zdarsky. So that answered your question.
I think there's a large, oversized hardcover coming out for his run.
Yeah.
But, is that what directly preceded what we reviewed last time? That was great.
Yeah.
Those 20 issues.
Very cool.
I think the collection's only going to be like the first 10 though.
So what my reading schedule is, we do the show on Sunday, and I have Sunday and Monday to read whatever Jadles wants to read. And then Tuesday happens and the books start coming back in and it's time to start reading that week's books again, et cetera, et cetera. So the two on my list so far is that Future Imperfect. And I'm going to try and read this Black Widow, Mark Waid and Chris Samnee series.
Oh, you haven't read Future Imperfect yet? I thought you had, by your reaction. I thought you had read it and loved it.
No, I was saying the exact same thing you were saying, which was I was looking forward to reading this because I never read it originally, but it's a seminal run, blah, blah, blah.
Right. Gotcha.
Yep. So.
Yeah, you know what? My reading schedule is, I mean, it's the same, right? Like, I've got, as soon as the weekly comics are done, it's
Could you say that again?
it's hardcore. Just like I get to read whatever I want, and oh my god! But yeah, like I will attempt to on Tuesday and Wednesday and like into Thursday finish everything I can for the week, so I can start to read the stuff I want to read.
Yeah. It's always nice when it aligns with something we're supposed to read for the show.
Yeah, that's the best. And I'll read my stack.
Yeah,
which is usually much more than you guys are reading
anymore.
And he has those twos. No, he doesn't have farther back. I'm sorry.
Sorry, man. Yeah.
I'll read my stack, and then when you guys when it's decided what's going to be read for the week, I go in and I'll did it. Yes, I only have to read 2 more issues. But then there's some weeks where I've read 15 issues that I wanted to, and you fuckers don't want to talk about any of them. And it's like
that does happen.
It's like I got 2 weeks worth of comics now. Thanks.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's a marathon to get to what I want to read. Not saying that this isn't enjoyable.
Yeah.
But when you're assigned work versus when you're assigned reading versus reading. Yeah.
Yeah. I never. I'll tell you what. I thought that was going to be Alien for me this week. I was like, I don't want to read that. And I did, and I loved it. So that was a pleasant surprise.
I'm interested in exploring some of the now that Alien and Predator are going to be gone at Dark Horse.
Oh, right.
Yeah, because Marvel gets them
somewhere else.
Yeah, Marvel has it for the next, I think starting in 2021 or something.
Oh, gotcha.
So everything that they're doing, they're just finishing off. So I think they're doing the same thing with Predator soon, the original screenplay adapted into comic book. Yeah,
that one I see, but not for a very long time. It was very long ago that I saw Predator.
Yeah, when we were kids, that was more of an action movie than a horror movie. So we were just cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Just categorically, I was like, I don't like movies that are scaring me. I don't like this, and I'm out. So unfairly, in some cases, probably. Hey, JD.
Are you talking about the Predator original screenplay comic?
Yeah.
I had someone just contact me about getting that for them. I'm curious. I don't know if I have the attachment to the Predator that I do Alien, though.
Yeah.
It's more along the lines of I'm interested in what they're going to be doing with the license while they still have it. Because these things aren't going to be reprinted. They're not going to be it's just if you ever wanted to or thought about reading it, now's your chance. Or if there was ever any Dark Horse thing that you wanted to pick up of Alien or Predator, get on it because unless Marvel has I think they did this with the Star Wars comics. They had all of the printing rights.
Yeah.
So they eventually reprinted some of that old stuff, but only sporadically or in large collections. Other than that, it was all just over there while we do our new thing over here.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same thing that's going to happen with all the Alien and Predator stuff. If you want to read it, you should probably jump on it now.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. I was always interested, but I've not heard a lot of good things about it. In what was it, Prometheus? The whole idea of way back in the past, this stuff happened and it has something to do with humanity. That kind of stuff grabs me. But I wasn't seeing a lot of movies at that time, and nobody has said you should go and see that movie. So
I've only seen it twice.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating disaster.
Okay. Because of what you know about what went on behind the scenes and the alien stuff being taken out, or what?
No. What's on the screen? So there's some really, really beautiful, fascinating stuff in the movie, but the movie is garbage.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What movie's garbage?
Prometheus.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
But it's
I still enjoy them.
a fascinating and beautiful disaster. Like
Yeah.
the movie
Yeah.
itself is not good,
okay.
but it's got so many like cool ideas, and it's just pretty that you're like, all right, cool. Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
Alien Covenant, the second one, the like Prometheus 2, straight up not good.
It was explicitly.
I didn't like it.
Like whatever rights were figured out or whatever.
It was
Okay.
Prometheus. Well, there's no alien rights issues with Prometheus. They just explicitly didn't want to do alien stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I thought it would be interesting experiments, but yeah.
Yeah. I can get behind a movie that has those two things that you mentioned.
I think you would like Prometheus.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I love the long span of time stuff too, and like kind of austere, removed kind of things that I remember the trailer. Ooh, what do you got?
I gotta say before he gets back. I read, and I did a thunder round on this earlier this week. I finally finished Annihilation.
Oh yeah,
The whole omnibus.
did you like it?
It was fine.
Okay. This is the first one, right?
The first one.
Okay.
So I had read Conquest before, and honestly, that was a goddamn masterpiece, and it got me into Marvel Cosmic.
Yeah.
So I decided to finally read this because everyone was talking about how it's the greatest goddamn thing in the world, and it's the way that the I think I have a problem with the structure in general. So like if I had just read the 6-issue Annihilation thing,
right.
cool.
Oh, okay.
I probably would have loved it. Like the Annihilation one shot,
Yeah.
and then the 6-issue miniseries.
Yeah.
Great. Probably cool. And like if I wanted a little extra, the Nova miniseries, the 4 issues of the Nova miniseries, awesome.
Yeah. That was where the whole Old Mind thing happens, right? Where he gets it all, and then
it's the origin of the modern Nova, which is awesome.
Right. Yeah, that was really good.
The Drax miniseries, the Surfer miniseries, the Ronin miniseries, they're all shit to like they
Okay.
and a couple of cool sequences in between. But the way that the omnibus is structured is you have to read all of that before getting to the miniseries. So I read this.
Yeah.
It was such a goddamn slog. So by the time I finally got to the event, I was just like, cool. I mean, okay, let's just finish this.
I could see
It's
that.
awful.
Like a little like Empire has been, but not as bad. I mean, Empire is not as bad when it took so long.
So I tried to make the point in the video, like the current, like the way that events are now. You've got the spine book, so you've got Empire.
Yeah.
But then all of these ancillary titles are happening concurrently.
Right.
We didn't have to read 6 or 7 miniseries starting just to get to this. So like it's like an old school event where it's a bunch of like separate miniseries that kind of lead to a thing, because there are things that happen in the other miniseries for like Ronin and Super Skrull that don't mean shit.
Right.
That don't matter whatsoever for the actual event. Like they're just nothing. Like Super Skrull, like
yeah. I think I picked that one up. It's funny, the ones that you mentioned, I was like, oh yeah, those were great. I remember those. I was like, oh yeah. Now that you mention it, Ronin did have a series. I forgot about like the ones that you liked are the ones that I remembered. I'm also not entirely sure. I think I picked up the Super Skrull, almost definitely Silver Surfer, but that like I think I was counting my pennies pretty hard at the time, and might just not have read those. So I got the Nova one or whatever. And maybe that was to the benefit of the story for me. Would have been nice to have more money at the time, but what are you gonna
it was I usually will go through like so like my pleasure reading, so like we'll read the comics every week, but then I'll usually be juggling like 2 to 3 larger books at the same time. In the course of starting and finishing Annihilation, I read and finished like 4 other things.
Oh, really?
Because I kept putting it down.
Yeah.
Like I read the entirety of JMS's Amazing Spider-Man run during this. I read like the first 2 deluxe hardcovers of Power Rangers and the first 3 trades of Immortal Hulk. and a bunch of other and all of Black Magic. Like I've read so many things in between starting and finishing this because I had to keep stopping. The momentum is absolute. The momentum for this edition is absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Like they should just collect it alone.
I wonder how much of it Keith Giffen wrote. I don't know.
So much of it. I'll tell you right now. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was my introduction to Star-Lord too, and I loved him from that.
Okay, so Keith Giffen wrote. So there's the table of contents. Keith Giffen wrote Drax the Destroyer with Mitch Breitweiser art.
And that's the modern Drax, right? Like that's where we get that Drax.
Yeah. Okay. He wrote the prologue, so the one-shot issue.
Okay.
Adnett and Lanning wrote the Nova one that was actually really, really good.
Ooh, that was awesome. Yeah.
Giffen wrote Silver Surfer, and he wrote Annihilation. So he wrote 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 of like the 8 series in here.
Yeah.
And he also wrote all of the afterwards. So like there's 2 like Heralds of Galactus issues after the event that are just like, where are the people that we thought were dead?
Oh, okay.
That are so boring. He wrote those.
Oh, okay.
I'm so glad that you've said all this because there's something in me where I know that there's a seminal comic book run that gets a lot of attention. A lot of people are like, oh, you don't like Marvel Cosmic, but read this, read Annihilation. And so I feel this guilt of having never made it all the way through Annihilation. So when someone else comes along and goes, not great, I go, oh, thank God.
Well,
hang on.
Hang on. Part of an important point here. Yeah.
I will contend if you just read Nova 1 through 4, the prologue issue, which is the 0 issue, and just the event, it is an amazing and wonderful experience.
Well, those are
if
not
you read.
That's not going to happen.
Well,
not going to happen.
How
much is that?
Like
$125?
It's a quarter of this, though.
Yeah, if you just read a couple pages out of this $150 book.
Oh no, I'm not saying get it. I mean,
maybe no.
I have it here. You jerk.
Yeah.
Oh, you can borrow it.
He might be convinced.
I thought I was saying it's out of print. And you're like, and I'm like, that's.
Oh no. Actually, I think this is also out of print.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Is it?
But that's what I remember from that run is Nova and Annihilation and a little Silver Surfer and Super Club. You know. Yeah.
But it's of the 30 issues that are in this, 30 like episodes or whatever they're in this. Yeah. 11 are great.
Yeah.
And the other 19 are just like fine. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah. They are very good.
But yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Cult Pop Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please email us at cultpopgo@gmail.com. If you want to help out the show, you can go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo, or you could just look up JD's Hero Complex on Venmo. You could just send us money on Venmo. Just do it. Because apparently that's a thing people do. You can find me on Twitter at JD's Hero Complex. And Noel at Mr. Bartocci. Brian Lieb, where can the people find you?
I'm at BrianLiebDesign.com, and I'm also on Venmo. You know, just make sure you don't get the wrong Brian Lieb.
And that's it. We will see. Well, I guess we'll probably do some Thunder Rounds in the middle of the week.
Thunder Rounds.
Yeah. And then we will see you back here Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. As always, love you guys. Mwah. Thanks so much for hanging out with us, and we'll talk at you later.